Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Dojo Live. Today is Tuesday, April 27th, 2021. This is Tulio Sergusa broadcasting from Southern California. I am joined by Kim Lantis in Hermosillo, Mexico. Hi, Kim.
Hey, Leo.
And Carlos Ponce in Cuernavaca, Mexico. I was going to say just outside of Mexico City, just for old time's sake, but I couldn't do it. So anyway, Carlos, welcome to the show. Yes, we know you're on mute. It's fantastic. And today we're joined by our guest from Niagara Networks. We have Ben Askarinam, who is the CEO, founder and CEO, and Zeev Draer, who's the VP of Corporate Strategy and Marketing. Welcome to the show. I know that, Ben, you're in Silicon Valley, and Zeev, you are just outside of Tel Aviv.
That's correct.
Nice. So welcome. Thanks for joining us. I know it's quite late there. So we're talking today about an interesting topic that I think is near and dear to a lot of people. You know, how important it is to never stop trying. But before we introduce the topic and start talking about that, let's get to know both of you a little bit. Ben, if you could please kindly introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll move on to Zeev. And afterwards, we'll find out what Niagara Networks is all about. So, Ben?
Sure. Thank you, Tulio. And thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Kim. Thank you for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here. And my name is Ben Askarinam. I'm originally from Iran. I came to the United States in 1979, right after the Iranian Revolution. I originally went to Texas. I went to Texas A&M. I'm from Texas A&M. I moved to Fresno State. I graduated from Fresno State as a double E major. I went to work for NASA. From NASA, I went to a startup. From a startup, I went to Xerox Corporation. I was at Xerox for 12 years. And then I started Interface Masters. And 20 years later, I started Niagara Networks. And I live in Southern California. I live in Los Angeles. I commute to Silicon Valley every week. And I have two daughters and a wife, basically. Most of my daughters are doctors, and I'm very proud of them. I must say that. And that's who I am.
Fantastic.
I feel like we've got Forrest Gump with us. What have you not done, Ben?
You know, you reminded me when you say Xerox. You reminded me 31 years ago when I started my career at MCI. It was number 2 top sales and marketing organization in the world. Number 1 was Xerox. So if you wanted to learn everything about sales and marketing, you go work one of those 2 companies and you'd come out.
It was the best place to be. It was the best place to be. I used to work at Xerox Park, Palo Alto Research Center.
Wow.
It was the best place to be. It's fun. It's the best place to be.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, nice to meet you. Thanks for being with us. Zeev, tell us a little bit about you.
All right. So thanks for hosting us on your show. My name is Zeev Draer. From the gray hair on my head, you can understand that I have over 20 years of experience in this business. So practically,
it's not because of me.
So practically, I was active in various startups, public companies, and over a year in Niagara Networks as a corporate strategy and marketing VP, based out of Israel. And we'll be more than glad to be part of your show. Thank you.
Great. So, gentlemen, tell us about Niagara Networks. What gave birth to this idea? What do you guys do?
I go at it first, and then you jump in anytime you wish.
Sure.
So basically, Niagara Network, we are a visibility company. We are the one who give you the visibility to your networks. What is, if you want to attach any firewall, any IPS, any security device, you need us. We are the plumbers to your networks. You need to hang your firewall, your IPS, your any cybersecurity device of our networks, of our devices. We take the traffic, we replicate them exactly as they are. We send them to your firewall, we send them to your IPS, and the same packet goes through multiple devices without you needing the cables to replicate them multiple times. We are the ones who are doing it for you. Our network visibility programs, it started really a long time ago. It's it initiated in 2001, right after 9/11. It was very, very heart-wrenching to see what happened to us. So really, cybersecurity was very important at the time, and not many people knew what was cybersecurity at that time, and it grew and grew from then. And I remember we initially introduced the first bypass device as our network visibility program, and from there it took off, and it is what it is right now after 20 years. Zeev, you want to chime in?
Yeah, sure. I think, again, as you mentioned already and discovered the highlights about the company, I believe that one area that we definitely need to highlight here, and given the fact that Niagara Networks is a spin-off from Interface Master Technologies, and the fact that you founded the company based on the demand from the market, I can mention that when we're looking at our maybe let's start from a basic fact that the data is the new oil today, and this is maybe how we need to look at it. And this is sort of a digital era in the new norm that really dictates radical changes in how IT teams should design, deploy, maintain, and secure the entire spectrum of digital assets. So practically, when we look at the life cycle of technology changes, it's so fast that it's difficult to catch up in this endless race. So most IT teams are understaffed, and they are forced to do more with less to ensure two major objectives of any business. One is really to ensure to maximize the security posture, and the second one to enable business continuity and agility. So practically, when we're looking at those two areas, the security operations and network operations, those are the really demanding entities that we serve from our perspective. Our narrative in Niagara Networks is really to enable network visibility to all relevant network data, to avoid blind spots, and broker this data to monitoring and cybersecurity tools. This is really the essence of what we do in a nutshell.
Okay. Great. Well, thanks for introducing the company. I'm sensing from the topic you've chosen that there's been an interesting journey. So let's go right into the topic. Kim, please introduce the topic. Let's kick it off and see what we learn.
Great. Thank you. So the chosen topic today is the network visibility journey. You only fail when you stop trying. So you've already established, I think, the importance of network security. When I look at your company name, Niagara Networks, I immediately, of course, relate this to Niagara Falls. I don't know if that's intentional or not. And then when I hear you talking about data being the new oil, I get this visual of just massive amounts of flow, right? And I think it's probably easy to just throw your hands up and say, this isn't possible. Why try? Yet we have to try because it's that important. And so how do we keep trying even though it feels like an impossible feat?
Zeev, do you want to take it or do you want to take it?
Yeah, no, I can take it. So, the fact, first of all, the journey and in terms of persistence of trying, I think that if we take it to the angle of founder, and I think, Ben, you can definitely testify how it's difficult to consider change or spin a specific solution that you consider it as interesting to the market. And you do it once, you do it twice, and I think, Ben, you can first elaborate the obstacles on the journey. I think it will be appropriate before we touch the battleground of the big mass of data and obviously the.
Yeah, that's what I was sensing. That journey, your own personal journey.
That's exactly the idea. Yeah.
Want to hear about that first? Let's hear it.
I always say this, and when I was far younger, and back in Iran, I used to work for my father. He had an importing, exporting business. He had a very prosperous importing, exporting business. And right after 9/11, right after Iranian Revolution, I came to the United States. I became an engineer. My whole passion is building things, creating things. Ever since I was a child, building things and creating things comes to me naturally, it comes to me easily. And when I started Interface Masters, building things and trying different things is a passion. And we have a team at Interface Masters which has been with me for past 20 years. My chief engineer has been with me for past 25 years. He is Italian. Franco has been with me for past 25 years. And our passion is building things, trying to different ideas. When we came up with a bypass device, nobody knew what it was. I had to explain to people what this a failover device means. I remember one time I was at IBM and I explained to them what was failover device means. It finally caught on. 10 years later, 15 years later, it finally caught on what a failover bypass is. And now Niagara Networks is a foundation for Niagara Networks. And we tried many different devices. Still today, we have the largest R&D budget of any company our size. So we never took any money from any VCs. We are a bootstrap company. The reason that I kept it that way because I don't want to address anybody where we are spending the money. All the money that we earn goes through VC, go through R&D. Trying different things, trying new things, trying to address new markets. It's what we do best.
Wow, amazing. You guys have a question? I can keep going otherwise.
No. Go ahead, Carlos, please.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious about something. And no, Tulio, no, Kim, I am not on mute.
We can hear you.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to clarify. Okay, Ben Zeev, I'm known as the mute guy because I always start speaking when I'm on mute. Anyway, I'm curious about something, Ben. In your case, well, you mentioned that you have been in tech, and this is what I get for a long time, for several decades now. So
38 years to be exact.
Yeah, exactly. Which is in terms of on the tech space, as you probably know, that's a really long time. So I'm curious from let's call it the layman's perspective, the user. Well, I'm curious to ask you, what would you say? What have you seen in terms of changes that you could probably say, wow, this has been an amazing ride? Let me just give you an example. For example, I remember when I was very young, I remember the punch cards, for example, for computers, and those huge computers that you had to fill a room with them, and you had to air condition it, and you had to do a number of things. And now you can do the same thing from your cell phone, right?
Very true.
So that's using that as a reference in terms of changes. What would you say in your space would be something that might, wowed you, even you?
Just the amount of horsepower or the compute power that it requires to move traffic data is quite amazing. When we started in this business, it was modems, it was 200K per second. Now we are moving data at terabits per second, and nobody really seems to care about it. It's there. Okay, we do 1 terabit per second.
Mm-hmm.
We came from 200 kilobits per second data. It's quite astonishing, quite impressive. Today, when we develop products, I remember the first product that I developed back in Xerox days. We developed a board for Shell Oil Company. It was half a refrigerator big. Now the same thing you can do maybe with a small tablet. You can do more. So these are the things that we are taking it for granted, but frankly, it has taken 40 years or 50 years to come to here, come to this place, and it's quite interesting, quite amazing. Tulio, I would like to say this, which is very, very important to me. When I first arrived to Silicon Valley in 1983, I took a job at NASA Moffett Field. It was, for me, to work at NASA was very, very impressive, was very, very important. It was, I am an immigrant working for NASA. it was a very proud moment. It was very satisfying. And I cannot tell you how proud I was whenever every day I went to work, working for NASA. But I joined a startup right after that, and then I got the bug for the startups. And that's has stayed with me for ever since.
Amazing.
You know what? I think, Ben, it correlates again to the story that when we see the technological cycles, they are so dramatic. It's like tectonic changes on yearly basis. And I think when we reflect it in the world of cybersecurity, information technologies, we could see that each day is a new day. And I think those are the areas that keep us awake at night, because each day it's a new battlefield, it's a new challenge. You need to be creative all the time. And it's just getting more difficult. When we're looking at the arena, which is the market is divergent. The divergence, by the way, especially in the cybersecurity market, we are not cybersecurity company, but we're serving those specific companies in order to ensure that they are able to get the data they require in the prompt time, directly the right data that they require. We can optimize it, we can manipulate it. And basically those demands are changing on daily basis. So that's basically the area that when I think we're looking at those different type of challenges and radical technology challenges, they're reflected on what we do. And Ben can testify how that's difficult to go and boost the idea for R&D from the dashboard, from the sketchboard to the reality, and really to release of a product that's supposed to be tested, validated, and typically we deployed in very strategic places, which means we're not a small element that resides in the network. We actually reside in the very core of the network. We intercept data, we collect data, we manipulate data, and we deliver it.
We are the gateway.
Basically, yeah, exactly.
We are a gateway for traffic data that flows through the core of networks.
So who are your customers? Is it telecom carriers? Is it big subscribers to data centers like the Googles and Amazons of the world? Who are the actual end customers of the offering?
So it ranges from very large service provider. It could be multinational service providers. It could be government agency. It could be large enterprises of the top 500 Fortune.
Since again,
because you have some large enterprises that have private networks, they run it as if they were a carrier, basically.
Yeah, basically anyone that possess data and have a large spectrum of attack surface and using different type of solutions that typically the hybrid environment of infrastructure and different type of vendors on the same security chain or network monitoring chain is a classical place for us. So usually you could see us serving those huge installations that they're typically dependent on us in all way.
Or we have a carpet manufacturer in Georgia using our devices, a small carpet manufacturer.
Right.
So anybody who cares about cybersecurity, anybody who has a cybersecurity device needs to have us.
Sounds like it's all mission critical. Now, you said something interesting earlier about failover devices. Are you saying that you replicate some of the instances, so you basically create like a virtual machine for your clients? Is that part of the offering? Can you help us understand it a little bit better?
Zeev, you want to take it or you want to take it?
Yeah, sure, I will take it. So when Ben mentioned the failover, think about a network that's supposed to have 5 nines availability, should have the premium uptime. And when we're talking about core networks, typically you're handling capacities of 40 gig, 100 gig, and even more than that. Now, given the fact that the network uptime is critical, what we provide is a physical element that's supposed to detect specific scenario of the traffic and condition of the elements that connected to it, and create a failover between the network line of inline connections, which practically gives this phenomena of zero loss or failover that's supposed to sustain the uptime of the network. So it's a physical element, but it retains substantial software packages in order to make it intelligent enough and ensure that the failover will happen in a very intelligent way, not just like a basic relay, which could also be part of it. Yeah.
Sounds a bit like a hybrid. It's a pretty cool idea. Imagine to virtually create nodes and then fail over into a virtual machine. That would be a pretty interesting offering. Maybe you guys could R&D that idea. Carlos, I know you got some additional questions.
Let me just unmute myself. Again, let me go back to your experience, Ben, and you mentioned it as an immigrant to the US, and you've seen a lot of things in terms of what the tech world looks like from the standpoint of people from all over the world. In this day and age, especially in the working from home age, what would you say, what would you label as one of the most interesting aspects in terms of everything that it entails to build international teams in the tech world, especially, and I highlight that part of, especially in the day and age of COVID, because of the working from home, working remote. What is the most interesting aspect from you as it pertains to everything that it entails working with international teams or from engineers with all over the world? What's the experience been like in all these years?
It's a very good question. And first of all, Carlos, one thing that I would say is we are priding ourselves that we are made in USA. We design, manufacture everything in California, we ship worldwide. But we have engineers all over the world. We have engineers in Israel, we have engineers in California, we have engineers in South Dakota, we have engineers in Ukraine, we have engineers in India, we have engineers in Hong Kong. But all of these people, they collaborate together. Frankly, in today's day and age, without having an engineer in Vietnam supporting your team in California, it's impossible to do business without. We have a team that is in Vietnam that they do support our team while they're sleeping. Otherwise, it will not be impossible to do. Frankly, I believe collaboration between all different countries is an essential part of American success story. America is here. We are here because we rebuilt Germany, we built Japan, we built England, because we are open. And we should keep it that way. We should keep it open, but safe. Don't let anybody take our IPs. Be protective of that, but be open. And we have been very successful having a multinational team all over the world. And we haven't lost any IP. We didn't lose any IP. We are not in any jeopardy whatsoever. I think we have been able to harness the best and brightest of people all over the world to do what we do.
Amazing.
That's spectacular, and I love that approach.
Thank you, Ben.
Kim, I sincerely, for my work, I have traveled all over the world. The only thing that you see everywhere is everybody wants the same thing: a roof for their family, good health, happiness for the family, and that's universal. And if you agree with that, you can find good engineers, good talent all over the world. Some parts of the world we cannot go. Of course, I understand that, but Western Europe is. I love to have teams in Germany. I love to have teams in England. Why not? And the best and the brightest are the ones who create jobs in the United States. And if you come to Silicon Valley, almost every other CEO is either Indian descent, or Persian descent, or European descent. And a lot are native born, but it's a collaboration of immigrants who have made Silicon Valley what Silicon Valley is.
I would agree
Amen.
100%. I think
Definitely.
diversity is one of the strongest elements that any company
That's
or
the only
individual
American
can
way.
have.
That's the only American way.
It totally is. Talking about something that we have in common, diversity, as well as something else that's common to humanity, and that is having to endure. Going back to the title of today, you only fail if you stop trying. My question for both of you, Ben and Zev, from an individual standpoint, and then we could also transition this over to the company culture at Niagara Networks, is what are the tactics and techniques that you personally use to endure, to keep trying? Do you have a process or an attitude or something that you fall on? And how do you do that as a company as well?
Kim, tough time never lasts. Tough people do.
That's a good one.
When 9/11 happened, our company was very small at that time. We did not let anybody go. We did not lay off anybody. We endured together. Everybody agreed to do a pay cut so we can survive. And we survived. We treat everybody like a family. It's a family-run business. It's a family-run operations. Everybody is a family. That's the sentiment that I steal in everybody's heart. When we hire anybody, I always promise two things, and I always deliver. I always promise that they never get bored, and they get a second family, and that's always true. They get a second family for sure. They are never bored because we always try different ideas. Kim, we have more R&D projects than you can ever believe. We have so many projects on a whiteboard that are waiting for engineers to get free to work on it. That's how you endure. That's how engineers. I always say engineers are like smart kids. You always have to give them new playground, new sandboxes. If you stop giving them new sandboxes, they will get bored. That's frankly, I love all the engineers that work for me. I'm like their father, and that's how I treat them, and that's how the company is.
Kim, Tulio, does that ring a bell? By any chance?
It does. It totally does. I love it.
Certainly does, right?
Zev, what about you? What are your personal approaches to enduring?
We discussed, we dived a bit into technology, but I can just maybe reassure that at the end of the day, it's all about people. And I think the fact that you can create collaboration, communication, and community, which means something that you have a mission, that everybody believe in it, and you can communicate very coherently, consistently, all the way, for the good and the bad. Sometimes the bad is prevail the good in many instances. That's why, it's always about this, don't stop trying eventually. Even if and we had, during my short career, I saw things in both directions, the positive and the negative. But I think the main objective is to keep people in those 3 C's of collaboration, communication, and the community, and believe in mission. And if it happens, basically, you can do magic even with a small commando team, which usually is much more efficient than a big giant army. So probably that's the motto.
Your team has to be always motivated. They need to know. They need to see the light. They need to see what you see. If they can see what you see, you do not need to push anybody. I always say if you push any engineer, you're doing it wrong. If you run and let them run with you, then you have a team.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you an example. Our VP of operations at Interface Masters, I hired her fresh out of college. She's been with me for 15 years now. She runs our company. She is my VP of operations. She's my right hand.
Oh, okay.
She sees what I see. As I mentioned, my chief engineer, he has been with me for 25 years. He's a stubborn Italian, but he's a very good, damn good one. Very damn good one. But I see what I see. Who's Italian here?
That would be our stubborn Tulio.
Oh yes.
Yeah. No, frankly, I like him like my own older brother. He's a very good guy, but stubborn. But he's a damn good engineer. He's our chief engineer. He oversees everything that we do.
Well, Ben, Zeev, it sounds as though you guys have created a great environment, right? At the end of the day, everyone wants really three things. They want a sense of belonging, which you've created with this concept of get an extended family. They want a sense of meaning behind what they're doing, which is the opportunity to tackle many different projects. And they want to have an impact, which is what you're doing by keeping the doors open to continuous R&D. So congratulations on enduring and building a successful business. We could listen to you for hours. You really should consider doing a podcast, Ben. You have a good listening voice that I could listen to you for hours. So it's been a pleasure.
Even my accent?
No, it's your tempo. You just want to listen to you. It's great. Thanks for sharing your stories. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in so late, Zeev. I really appreciate that. What do we got coming up for the rest of the week, guys? Just stay with us as we go off the air in a minute. What do we got coming up,
Tulio,
Carlos?
Yeah, we have one more show. The one at 12 p.m. That's tomorrow, and that's going to be with DV Kashi, the co-founder and CEO at Deed. Us together to solve some of the world's most pressing problems, as they say it, with high volunteering and giving opportunities. So I look forward to that. That's what we have for tomorrow. Tulio, I don't know if we have something in the morning.
We do not have anything in the morning tomorrow, as of right now. But,
okay, cool.
We don't have any boring topics. So
never, ever.
Come and join us again tomorrow at noon. And until then, stay safe.
Stay safe, everyone. Thank you.